Hi, boys and girls. This is Miss Ivory, the unit director at Muso Boys and Girls Club in Lakeland. So for those of you who are not one of my members and may not have known or seen me before, that's who I am. Okay, everyone else, good to see you again. So guess what we're doing today? We're doing an activity that will combine arts and crafts along with one of the games from the game room. Now, I don't know about the other Boys and Girls Clubs, but one of the most favorite games for Muso Boys and Girls Club is Mancala. We have to make sure we always have at least one or two always there. So today we're going to make our own Mancala because you may not have the game at home and you may not be leaving home, which is good, to make sure that you'll be able to purchase one from a store. So guess what? We're going to make our own. The first thing we're going to do is go over the items that you need to create this game. Okay, so I have, you know what this is? Yes, it's an egg carton. So I have a regular egg carton. Once all the eggs are gone and you've used them, you make sure that you save your egg carton. Now you may not have one that look like this. Maybe yours is pink, blue, yellow, white, and maybe it's made of a different type of material, which is styrofoam. You could still use that. It's just the paint may not stay as much. So I have one that's made of recyclable material. Okay, so the two main things that you need for this will definitely be an egg carton and your pieces. So your pieces will be rocks. And I just found these outside of my house. If you don't have rocks in your yard, you can maybe go to your neighbor's yard or in the driveway. Just be careful and be safe, okay? And social distance. All right. So I want to first talk about the types of rocks you should get and the types of rocks you should not get. All right. So the first thing, want to make sure we don't get rocks that are too, what is that? Too big. These rocks are very nice rocks, but they're just too big because for each section of your game, you're going to need 4 pieces, which in our case will be rocks. Traditionally, they use marbles, but that's just 2 rocks. Could you think we could fit 4 or maybe 8? Probably not. Okay, so these are too big. Also be mindful of rocks that are, this is too small, right? Way too small, all right? Because once you start putting it in, they'll get lost. You see how tiny that looks? Okay, the other do not get type of rocks are other things that we find in Florida. A lot of you guys may have shells. This was in my rocks area, but this is not a rock. And this is also very sharp and will be difficult to move from one place to the next. I found a very cool looking rock, which you can use, but it is a rock. But I found something else very similar to it that is not a rock and is about the same size. Do you know what that is? That's just a piece of mulch. And mulch is made from wood. Wood will not last as long as rocks would. So we don't want to get those. All right, and then last but not least, you don't want to get things that look like rocks but are not. See, if you see these, it looks like it's a rock, but when you take it and you break it, it's just dirt. Just really hard dirt. So you don't want to waste your time painting these and saving these just for it to fall apart. Okay, so those are the basic things you'll need to make it. Now, what if you want to take it up to the next level? The next level would be to decorate it. And if you know me, and now all of you guys know me, I like to take things to the next level. So you'll need to do some decorating. So we're going to paint it. So the next thing you'll need is some paint. So I'm using acrylic paint. You find these at Walmart for $1, $1.50. But if you are near a Boys and Girls Club and you need these supplies to do this activity, please reach out to your local Boys and Girls Club and we will provide you with these to borrow. Okay, so I have black and green, I have yellow and blue, And then I have some pink and purple. And I have these two because I've been doing things for the baby girl that's coming. I'm still pregnant. Okay, so you have your paints. You also are going to need something to put your paints on. I'm using a regular paper plate so that when we're finished, we toss it in the trash. Don't use the good plates. You may get in trouble. All right, and don't say, Miss Ivory told me to do it. All right, so we use a paper plate, and you'll put a little bit of paint on each section, which we'll do in a minute, but I want to continue to go over the items that you need, okay? So we'll go back over what we talked about so far. So far, we need a carton, yes. Next, we need your pieces. In this case, will be rocks, the right size rocks and the right types of rocks. And then, if you want to take it up a notch, you're going to use some paints, and we're going to use some glitter and some sequins. You see all that? Ooh. And I have some googly eyes. Not sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but I got them. Okay? And you'll also need, I have 2 bags. You can use one, but I'm going to do only 4 colors of my, we're going to paint the rocks. And I'm going to paint them in 4 colors. So 2 colors will go in one bag and 2 in the other. So when you start off, you have different colors for each team, but you don't have to do that. You can use just 1 bag, but make sure you have a bag to put your pieces into when we're finished. For painting, of course, you'll need a paintbrush. I have several different sizes. Painting the rocks, you'll need something probably a little smaller, and painting your container, you'll need something a little bit larger. So make sure you have a variety of brushes. Again, if you do not have them, come borrow them. All right? Make sure you have yourself some water. This is a cup of water. It's about halfway full because you don't want to spill, because even adults spill. Shh, we make mistakes too. And then you want to have a piece of tissue. The tissue will help you as you transition between 2 different colors. You have pink on your brush. Now you want to use green. You have to dip it in the water, and you wipe off excess water, and you get more paint. No double dipping. It will mess up your paint. Okay? And I believe that's everything. Oh, one more thing. So we're going to paint our rocks, and once we paint our rocks, you want to put it on some type of shiny, glossy material. You get them in the newspapers, the advertisements that sometimes come to your home. Ask your family if they have something like this. It's very shiny, and it has a glossy finish, so that once you paint them and put them down, once they dry, they're easy to pick up. Okay? Understood? Alrighty. Okay, so that's all the materials that we'll need. And if you would like to, this is a moment you could pause the video, gather all those items, and then come join me back. Okay? I'll be waiting. Assuming that they push pause and now they're pushing play. Okay, hey, welcome back. So now we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do, let me see if I could tilt this. Alrighty. Is we're going to put our paint. So we have some pink. Purple, my favorite color. And you don't have to use a lot, so please don't goop up your whole plate, because then once your paints merge together, give them a good distance from each other. Once they merge together, that's it. You got to kind of start over. Then we have our yellow. Whoops. Yellow. We have our blue. Let's get some green in there. These colors are very nice. We have black. Oh, I left my white. That's okay. I don't think we'll use it. And then you always want to leave some space for yourself because you can mix colors and make a new color. Let me give you guys a quiz. If we put yellow and blue together, what color does that make? Yes, you're right. It makes green. Okay, so mixing colors make new colors, but we already have green, but just in case you didn't. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and get started painting our egg carton. So I'm going to first start with black because this was already black, and once this dries we're going to put another color on top, and then we're going to paint the rest as we continue. So because I'm painting my box, I'm going to use a larger paintbrush, and so the way that I get my painting started, let me move all of my paints to my other table. Alright, so the way that I get started is first you wet your paintbrush. I'm going to wet it, and this just breaks up your bristles from the last time you paint it, and you let it dry. And I just kind of work it into the tissue, and you see it's a little more flexible for you to paint. Alright, so the color that I chose, and you can choose whatever, is black, because it's already pretty much black. So I'm just going to paint over everything that's already there. Alexa, play the music.
Here's a station you might like.
Alexa.
Classical on Amazon Music.
Okay. I thought I put some classical music on as we painted. Alexa, turn down the volume. Make sure you cover everything. Painting is also very relaxing. So I know that sometimes, especially a time like this, you may get a little bit stressed. And even if you're not making a Mancala piece, feel free to paint something. Get a piece of paper, express yourself through painting. It's very relaxing. Make sure you get all the pieces, that everything is covered. And as you can see, I don't use a lot of paint, especially since it was already black. Okay. Also, if you're not as careful as a painter as I am, then make sure you wear an apron or a shirt that you wouldn't mind getting paint on. Okay, you see I put some paint on this side, but it's not covered well, so I'm going to put a little bit more. There we go. I think that looks good. Maybe cover up these spots. There we go. Okay. Get all the little crevices. Oh, I think that's good. Alright, so now that I'm done with the black, I'm going, oh, I found another little spot. Just needs another coat. So we've covered the first part, step 1 of making our Mancala board. And as you can see, my fingers reflect it. So remember, in between each time you get a color, you clean your brush. Now your color of the water is going to turn multiple colors. Don't be afraid. In the end, it just will wind up brown. Okay? As you can see, now the water is black. And you don't want to just dip it in and take it out. You have to push your brush down because paint goes up, and you want to make sure you get it all out, because if not, you'll put this paintbrush into your yellow and the yellow will have some black in it. Alright, so we clean that. I always wipe it on the edge of my cup before I even put it on my paper towel, because you'll take some of the excess off. And your paper towel, tissue, or rag, whatever you use, will always be an indicator of, is there still more color on your paintbrush. So I'm going to dip it one more time and push down. Make sure you hold your cup, and then I'll push out the water and try again. Okay, that's better. Alright, so now this paintbrush is clean and ready for the next time we'll use it. Okay, which is now. We are going to paint the inside. So be careful. This is drying. As you can see, it's already starting to dry. It's just a couple of pieces, a couple of areas that it's not. But now we're going to paint the inside of it. Okay? And I want this to look a little more bright and cheery, so I'm going to use a brighter color, which is yellow. So when I gave that example, I wasn't even thinking about this. So we're going to paint the inside. And as you can see, yellow is much more thin, so we're going to need a couple of coats. A coat is how many times you layer the paint. All right? Alexa, turn up the volume. And while you guys have time, a lot of people are trying to figure out, what do I do with all this extra time? Some people aren't working, all the kids are not in school. You could take up a new hobby. Maybe it'll be painting. And just find something that you find interesting. And whoopsie, some kind of way I got some black paint. Oh, I see it. You see on my brush? Oh, I am going to clean it. And I'll start again, because I don't want that to continue. Let me show you where Miss Ivory messed up. You see, right here. And it came because I had a little bit of black that seeped through the hole, and I wiped it. So let me fix that up. And we'll start again with some more. No worries. I'll just go over it. Okay, so at this point in the video, I'm going to take a pause and we'll come back for part 2. Okay, I hope you liked everything so far. If you have questions, please feel free to put a comment and let me know. But we're going to continue to paint the rest of this, and then we'll come back and show you the finished results.